I had so many barriers to getting to here this morning. I had problem with the coffee, problem with traffic, construction, problem with um, depression. Um, Everything was kind of, I don't know. I could have just stayed asleep, I guess. Um, but yeah, the depression though. I was down because I really offended one of my subscribers, and she posted some comments. I didn't get to read all of them, but I could see that she posted them, and she was angry at me, and I felt bad about, I made this video about the awareness, and it was a pretty nasty video. I had already said I didn't think I should post it. I went ahead and posted it, and I made one guy laugh, but then I offended her, and made me take a step back and say, um, am I helping anybody by what I'm doing? Should I continue doing this, or should I stop doing this, because it's not really, am I helping the cause of Christ in doing these videos, or am I just uh, portraying vanity or something, And when I was just sitting on the ground just a minute ago, and I said, or I thought about God's prime directive and the facts of everything going on, even though you are beaten up this morning, or you are down, or there's this thing in front of you that's blocking your way, or whatever your problem is this morning, God is going to have the last say. God is going to judge, and God is going to look into your heart and see who you are, what you are, and is there Christ's blood on you, or have you trusted in something else in your life, And I think God will have the last testimony no matter what the situation, and you should be concerned about what He thinks about your life rather than what anyone else thinks. If these videos aren't popular, or if I'm hurting someone, I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to offend anyone. I certainly didn't want to do that, and but that's the bottom line. What does God think about all of this? You take a step back and you look at it from that perspective, and you try to put words in God's mouth. That was the last chapter that we were at, right? Talking about that. How um, how ridiculous is that, for you to put words in God's mouth? I forget the verse, but maybe it was 2 chapters ago. Dost thou know the balancings of the clouds, the wondrous works of Him which is perfect in knowledge? Teach us what we shall say unto Him, for we cannot order our speech by reason of darkness. Touching the Almighty, we cannot find Him out. He is excellent in power and in judgment, and plenty of justice. He will not afflict. Men do therefore fear him. He respecteth not any that are wise of heart. So this is the final testimony of this guy. Is he right? Is he wrong? Just to reiterate one more time, the only mistake that Job has made throughout this trial is thinking that God made a mistake in the judgment that has fallen on Job. And, of course, you saying that God makes the mistake, well, you're the one making a mistake in saying that. So, that's his only mistake, but this guy is basically the same thing as all of his other arguments. There is a note here. Oh, wait, no. That's for Matthew. Let's see. Okay, there is a note for the next chapter, so I look forward to reading that. But that's where we are. The testimony of the religious people is over with. So now we're finally going to hear what God has to say. God is entering the courtroom. The storm is now residing over them. The twister has now arrived. And Job and his friends are in the middle of a massive thunderstorm. They're right in the eye of the storm. And it's lightning strikes everywhere. But they're going to hear God's testimony now as he enters the courtroom. That's where we are. So, but let's start in prayer from Matthew chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Amen. All right. Here it is. Job chapter 38, part 5. Jehovah and Job, verse 1. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind, and said, Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Darkeneth counsel. I think that has a lot of meaning right there, I wonder how people twist things. 3. Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Fight like a man. I fight you like a man. Wipe yourself. No. Okay, I'm sorry. 4. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? Cornerstone. There it is once again. It's incredible. But you talk to a mechanic today, they just have such natural, like let's say you get your car fixed and they tell you everything about the car, every problem associated with it, and they just sound so natural because they love it, you know, and they enjoy what they do, and they're very naturally creative. I know a guy like that, you know. I met him at his uncle's funeral. Uh, it wasn't that long ago, six months ago? No, probably more than that. 9 months ago. And it was good to see him. He was looking good. But then his siblings talk about him and how smart he is, And most of the conversations I've had with him were, not anything special, just talking about generalities and that kind of thing. But when his siblings talk about him and his knowledge of how creative he is and how brilliant he is, he's nothing special in the eyes of society in this world, but that creative spark from God is something incredible. Shows incredible talent in him. And you see that with a lot of mechanics when you talk with them, and especially when somebody like me, that's completely I don't know anything about cars. I'm pretty worthless when it comes to all that. But you talk to them and how smart they are, it's they know about that thing because they love it and they enjoy it so much, and they'll detail you through every facet. Like that's a lot of my best friends, family members are very talented in that manner. They're very artistic, very brilliant in those ways. Other things, you have conversations with them, other things don't sound so impressive, but you talk to them about something artistic or creative, how this guy made this grill and he was so proud of it, It's a pretty impressive grill. I mean, he made that. And then his job is, I think he does all kinds of woodworking and that kind of thing, And Jesus was a carpenter, so it's all kind of related in that, isn't it? It's interesting. I don't know, just rambling about that. Pretty amazing people. A lot of my friends, family members. I can't think of creative people in my family to some degree. I mean, can't think of it off the top of my head, but I think of them in my friend's family. But just how incredible that is, how God made the world and just every little detail with it is just, it's mind-boggling. For me to think that I know anything about it is, it's like me talking to the mechanic. I don't get it. I'll just take your word for it, 6. Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened, or who laid the cornerstone thereof? The cornerstone. When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy, or who shut up the sea with doors when it brake forth, as if it had issued out of the womb? When I made the cloud the garment thereof, and thick darkness a swaddling band for it. It's another indicator of God, is just how particular everything is. If it was just slightly different, life would not be possible on this planet. So that's another indicator of God. I mean, what are the odds that all this could come together perfectly, It's not likely. And break up for it my decreed place, and set bars and doors, and said, Hitherto shalt thou come, but no further. Here shall thy proud waves be stayed. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the day spring to know his place? that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it? It is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm shall be broken. Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea, or hast thou walked in the search of the depth? Uh-oh. I don't know what you're talking. I don't know anything about cars, and I don't know anything about what you're talking about. I haven't been on too many adventures. I'm sorry. I don't know where he's... I mean, the depth, though, I think deeper into the earth. He's talking about his creation. It's probably, well, who knows? But, or is it talking about hell? Hell is sometimes referred to as the depths, I think, or darkness, separation from God. A lot of cartoons will make that a big deal, that, oh, he's going down to the pit, going down to the center of the earth. That's where hell is. I think hell is probably in another plane of existence that might exist in the same location as the center of the earth, maybe. But that's where your spirit is going, to that other plane of existence. So are you going down to hell, or are you going up to him? You know? "17. Have the gates of death been opened unto thee?" That's what they're trying to do. "Or hast thou seen the doors of the shadow of death?" They like to think they're close, you know, that they can transfer a soul into a robot. I think that's eventually what it's going to go to, you know. You take this mark, now you have perfect health, you get constant payments from the government, and you live in peace with Satan on the earth. Everything's fine, right? No more God. Don't need him, because now I have Satan as my God, right? Of course, a fake peace like that can't last very long. At the most 7 years. True peace, true interaction with God. I feel like it's somewhere in a forest, you know, in the woods out there. I feel like that's where he would be, close to something like that, like a garden, something out in nature like that. I don't know. You could probably argue otherwise, but true peace in this life, is it achievable through some man-made process or philanthropy or philosophy? I think it's only possible with God. I have this shirt that says, "No Jesus, no peace." And the K and the W are in different colors. So you get it? It's KNOW Jesus, KNOW peace, or NO Jesus, NO peace. See what I'm saying? Without Christ, probably just running around with your head chopped off, you know, just looking for the next distraction. Where's your connection to the Creator? You know, do you acknowledge Him? Do you feel this peace that you know He exists and He is there? Or do you disregard Him and disrespect Him? perceive. That's the next line. 18. Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare if thou knowest it all. When you go on a road trip, say I'm driving up to Canada, you just stare out the window. I've noticed this as I get older. I don't need a bunch of distractions when I'm going on a long drive like that. I can literally just stare out the window and just look at everything, I'm fine with that. I don't need to watch a movie on the TV while I'm driving. I don't need that distraction. I think I can see God's creation as I ride down the road, and I marvel at that. I don't need a bunch of distractions. I perceive that He's right in front of me. Declare if thou knowest it all. I know some people who think they know it all. They don't. And I'm sure if you really got in their face about it, they would admit they don't. They don't know it all either. But where is the way where light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? It's another pretty amazing thing about light and darkness. That thou shouldest take it to the bound thereof, and that thou shouldest know the paths to the house thereof. Knowest thou it because thou wast then born? Or because the number of thy days is great? Yeah, he's like, how old is Job at this point? What, is he in his 60s, And were you there 6,000 years ago? Or how old do you think this earth is? I don't know. Scientists say billions of years. Some religious people will tell you we've only been here for 6,000 years. It's a 7,000-year world. Who's right? Well, scientists claim they're right. There's all kinds of problems with the carbon dating, so who knows, really? And how arrogant for you to think you know. Were you there? Did you see it? Did you see those dinosaurs? Were you there? No, he wasn't. Do you have a time machine? "22. Hast thou entered into the treasures of the snow, or hast thou seen the treasures of the hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the days of battle and war? Who hath divided a watercourse for the overflowing of waters, or a way for the lightning of thunder? To cause it to rain on the earth where no man is, on the wilderness wherein there is no man. To satisfy the desolate and waste ground, and to cause the bud of the tender herb to spring forth. Hath the rain a father, or who hath begotten the drops of dew? Out of whose womb came ice, and the hoary frost of heaven? Who hath gendered it? The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? The influence of stars, the moon, how about the tides? How does that all affect the weather, Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season, or canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons? Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set the dominion thereof in the earth? Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover thee? Canst thou send lightnings, that they may go and say unto thee, Here we are? Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts, or who hath given understanding to the heart? That's what I was saying earlier with peace, you know. Do people know that they're Christ's child, you know? Do you really feel it? Do you feel Him? Do you know it in your heart? Who hath given understanding to the heart? Is it speaking of medical terms? Or is it speaking of motivations in your life? Or is it speaking of love? Why are some people attracted to this lady, and then other people are attracted to this lady? Or why is anything? There's a lot in that question. Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts? Or who hath given understanding to the heart? I don't understand anything, really. That's how I would respond. Who can number the clouds in wisdom, or who can stay the bottles of heaven? When the dust groweth into hardness, and the clods cleave fast together? Wilt thou hunt the prey for the lion, or fill the appetite of the young lions, when they couch in their dens, and abide in the covert to lie in wait? Who provideth for the raven his food, when his young ones cry unto God? They wander for lack of meat. He goes from something so enormous to something so small and insignificant to my pathetic mind. It shows the breadth, just shows how magnificent He is. Every line here is, do you know? No, I don't. And I don't pretend to know anything, really. The scientist, the college-educated PhD, will, Alex, it's clearly this. It's clearly this sodium hydroxy, blah, 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 and this, you know, and he'll come up with this excuse and this long, drawn-out thing, you know. I don't care, you know. And I don't care that you arrogantly think you're so smart. And enough about that. I'm sorry. God is so amazing. I'm going to stop here. We'll continue from 39 next time. Thank you for listening. Have a blessed day.